This is the Everything Weight Loss podcast with Shari Ware, where we talk about everything, all things, anything to do with weight loss, health, and wellness. So today we're talking to Eli Huang, who is a natural health practitioner in traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncture. She's an NLP Health and Wellness Coach and has also been a beauty therapist for nearly 20 years. She has a passion to help others achieve optimal health and wellness. She's interested in reversing aging, longevity, and women's health. Her approach to healing and health is using holistic techniques that combine treating mind, body, and spirit to achieve our best health while looking younger. I love everything about that. First of all, welcome, Ellie, to the podcast.
Thank you, Shari, for having me.
Thank you. And so first of all, I'm going to ask you, you've got a few things there and it's all around health and wellness. Why? What got you into that, and why do you do what you do, basically?
Yeah, so look, growing up with my father, who is also a natural health practitioner, I got to see firsthand from itty bitty. I was never given any Nurofen or anything as a child. So growing up and I was sick, I only got all natural remedies, Chinese herbs, Manuka honey and all that, lemon when I was sick. So I rarely took a Panadol or Nurofen growing up. So as I got older, helping him out in the clinic. So when I was old enough, probably dragged me when I was a teenager to help him do reception work and all that. I really got to see firsthand, following clients from week to week, just seeing a massive difference in their shift in their own health by just switching to, better lifestyle, following, just allowing the body to heal and just looking at alternative therapies when they've tried other things and it hasn't worked for them. But my main interest is basically in skin and makeup. Even from a young age, I had a group of friends in high school. We were all into makeup. We all wanted to look older. I think when you're 15, you want to look 30. And when you're like 40, you want to look 20. So, it's funny stages in our lives. Yeah, so that time during my teenage years, obsessed with skincare and makeup. And, I was known for carrying all these like things in my bag that helped us look younger, from blotting papers at the time and lip balm. Everyone came to me in school. They knew I was like this beauty guru, even at 15. So seeing my dad just in his clinic and treating a lot of people, my interest was in skin. And I loved seeing the improvements when he was looking after clients with eczema, psoriasis, acne, all the things that people are uncomfortable because it's what you see on the outside. Chronic disease, you don't see it, but skin is the first thing you notice, with your face, when people have acne or growing up in high school, you used to get teased and be called pizza face, and it's like a hit to the self-esteem. So my passion was, how can we keep our skin looking beautiful, because we only get one skin, it's the biggest organ in our body. And so my obsession started when I was about 15, 16, into basically skin and beauty and everything natural about that.
Wow, so you're definitely the person to go to. So I'm going to ask you now then, and you've already touched on it, but if I was to ask you what would be your superpower, what would you, in one sentence, what would you say that is?
I'd love to take 10 years off people's face and help them look 10 years younger and feel healthier. That would be more than 10 years. I'd love to do 15 or 20 years if I could. But yeah, my superpower is to help people look their best and feel their best.
Awesome. Wonderful. All right. So going further along that, you've been a beauty therapist for nearly 20 years. You've been in the Chinese medicine and acupuncture. You've been around it for your whole life.
Yeah.
What would be the biggest mistakes that you've seen people make when it comes to the health and wellness, and in particular around the aging?
So I say there's a couple of things that I see people not doing or prioritizing, but basically the number one thing I would say at the moment is not prioritizing sleep. Sleep would be at the top of my list, because when we sleep, we look younger, we feel healthier, we're more rejuvenated. And when we sleep, our body gets to relax and rejuvenate. So when we're not prioritizing sleep, we're so busy on our phones all the time. We don't ever put it down. We don't even give it a rest. If you look at the number of times you pick up up your phone and, you know, how much you spend on it, you know, that can eat into our sleep. You know, people are late into the night on their phones and they're not really thinking, okay, it's rest time. I've got to turn off my phone, let the body relax and go into a sort of sleep pattern. You know, we can't just switch off straight away. We need to kind of go into routine. It's the same with kids. You know, I've got 2 little ones, and to get them into their sleep routine, it takes a little bit of a build up. You know, it starts at 5 o'clock for them to go to sleep at 8:30. So even as adults, we can't expect to just put our phones down after like 5 minutes or even a minute and then be able to switch off and go to sleep. So when we're not getting that restorative sleep for the full 7.5, 8 hours, you know, when you don't have a good night's sleep, you wake up the next day and you look 10 years older, you know, you're just grumpy all day. So the number one priority I think that most people are not doing is basically prioritizing their sleep as the number one thing. And that would really help both our health, because our immune system will be a lot better. You know, with everything that's going on this year, we really have to make sure our immune system is working optimally. But also we just look so much more better. Like when you've had a great night's sleep, you wake up so refreshed and you even notice yourself, like your skin's better. You know, you just feel much more, you know, much more better inside and you glow. You know, people can tell you've had a good night's sleep, whereas one night of bad sleep, they say it could take weeks to make up for just that one night of bad sleep.
Definitely.
So,
I did a podcast episode, a very short one, on some of the negative and positives around sleep. So I will put the link to that in the show notes for anybody who wants to hear a bit more about that. But definitely 100% correct. And it's good to see it or hear it from the angle of the aging aspect as well, that you deal with so well in your work that you do. So if that's the biggest thing that you feel people aren't doing or prioritizing, what would be the steps that they need to take for the best health and wellness around aging, and what would be one action step that they could take immediately after listening to this episode if they said, that's it, yep, this is something I need to do, or something that I want to do? What's one thing they can do straight away?
So another thing, just touching back on sleep, you know, also issues if you're having trouble sleeping, you've got to look at what the reasons are around that. And I'm sure in your show notes or when you've done your last podcast, but just going quickly, like stress is a big thing, and also eating better. You know, if we eat better as well and we are de-stressing, so we're relaxed going into bed, we get that good restorative sleep. So there's a lot of aspects that will help us sleep better. So food is one of them, exercise is another, and also de-stressing. So looking after all of those aspects will lead to better sleep, and all of it sort of plays a part. You know, they're all interlinked. You know, if you sleep better, you know, you can exercise and de-stress, and all of that sort of, all those sort of things all kind of tie in. But the number one thing I'd say is basically to treat your body with love and respect. You know, a lot of people don't realize that your body is self-healing, you know, and in, you know, alternative medicine and just anything, we know that your body is always working really hard to make sure that you are healthy, that you do keep rejuvenating, and it tries to keep you in optimal health. Like that's a function of the body, to always try to keep you healthy. It's best to really try to keep you healthy, keep you looking younger, but it can only do so much. So over time, you know, when you abuse the liver, you put the wrong things in, you're eating the wrong things, you know, your body starts to shut down. So your body can go along, it's like a car, you know, your body can go along so much with, you know, petrol. As soon as your petrol tank becomes empty, things start falling to parts. So I'd say, look, the best thing you can do is really treat your body with love and respect, and understand that whatever you're eating and doing, ask yourself, look, does this serve my body in the best way? Is this going to keep me healthy and keep me looking younger so that I can live an optimal, long, healthy life to 100? We don't want to live to 70 and be bedridden or be in, you know, pain for the last 2 decades of our life. So I always say it's not about lifespan, it's all about health span. So it's not the number of years you're alive, it's how much we can live being optimal and being healthy and being young and fit, you know, instead of being, you know, people think as we get older and we age that we're going to be in pain and we're going to be bedridden and have chronic illness. We shouldn't be thinking that. We should be thinking as we age, we're going to, keep that youthfulness and keep that, keep being fit and doing all the things we love to do, play with grandchildren and all that in your later years. So we want to be able to make sure we're doing all those things to keep our body running for as healthy and for as long as we can optimally.
So what you're saying is it's more about quality, not quantity. And just because people feel or believe that as we age, things are going to get harder, it doesn't mean that it has to be as hard as what some people may believe it is. Depending on what we do now, I'm 45, so depending on what I do now, I guess what I'm hearing you say is that I can make my aging a lot easier, depending on the lifestyle choices that I'm making now and as I go along.
Oh, definitely. They say we do all our aging from puberty to menopause. So from that time, and then after menopause, it's basically the side effects or the effects of what we've done in those 3-4 decades that we're really looking after ourselves. So we really want to take our prime time, from our 20s to our 50s, or even late 40s, to basically, really look after our body so that it serves us for the second half of our life, instead of trying to play catch up and then trying to, they always say, the saying is like, prevention is better than cure. And it definitely is, because if we can do all those things as preventative measures to keep our body working its best it can, which is what it tries to do all the time, then it won't let us down, basically. But if we're not doing the best we can to help it, then it will let us down later. So we really want to just give it all our best, and really, whatever you're doing, think about it and just go, look, is this going to be the best for me and for my long-term health?
Okay, so say somebody wants to take an action step straight away. They want to put something in place and it takes time to create new habits. What would be one thing that you would say, if they're not already doing, is going to give them the biggest bang for their buck?
So I'd start small. I'd say the number one thing, which actually, if you're looking at aging, the number one thing that ages us and causes chronic illness would be sugar. Sugar is what they call like an inflammaging. It's inflammation as well as aging. So it's a big thing for our body. So I would say the number one thing is we don't realize just how much sugar we're actually consuming every day. The World Health Organization says we only need around 6 teaspoons of sugar. But in most cases, we're having anywhere between 30 to 40 grams. So the number one thing is, if you want to start looking better, feel healthier, and avoid chronic illness, really minimize your sugar and start reading the labels really carefully. Start really, looking after that you're not eating anything that's going to inflame your body to cause any sort of long-term damage. So sugar does age us a lot, as well as, lead to more chronic illness as well.
Okay, so that's a really good place to start, because that actually helps a whole host of things just with that, focusing on that one thing as the starting point. So awesome. So how do you help people? What kind of people come to you generally, and how do you help them?
So I see a lot of women basically between 30 and 50. So my work is, I love working around skin, anything to do with skin, because of my background as a beauty therapist, and also treating, female hormones and helping with balancing our hormones as well, because that can be one thing that can cause a lot of issues with our health, with aging. So as we're reaching perimenopause or even after menopause, the effects of hormone disruption and all of that can really play a part on basically our stress levels, our sleep, on our hormones. So a lot of the women I see is basically between 30 and 60. And so anywhere from helping them with their skin, with lifestyle tips, diet tips. We go through specific diet and lifestyle plan for them individually. We go through what are they eating, what they could introduce. So everyone's a little bit different. We all have different constitutions, and what works well for one person may not work well for others. So we really sort of look at a whole host of different things and what is going on in their system, and how we can basically optimize their health and move them towards their health goals, and help them get motivated to basically reach optimal health, whether it be assisting them with weight loss or with getting their hormones back in check. But we do that quite thoroughly with like a background into what they're currently doing and what things we can introduce and help them with.
Okay. And so if you were to have a specific, do you feel a lot of your clients come to you for skin issues, so the eczema and the psoriasis and things like that? Is that something that triggers them to think, oh, okay, I've got an issue that I need to deal with and I want to deal with it holistically? Is that some of the clients that you see?
Yeah, that's a proportion because that's my passion, and sort of one thing leads to another. And I think with skin, people get tired of, having that eczema or having, that affect their lifestyle. Could be, just uncomfortable, even in kids as well as in adults. Or it could be, acne, that the fact that, they're not feeling good with their self-esteem, or they go through hormonal changes or period changes with women, and it starts affecting them, they may get adult acne. So yeah, they may see me because my passion is around skin and women's health. So yeah, a whole host of different things. So yeah, but majority it has to do with, perhaps sort of more skin as well as hormones.
Awesome. Okay, so if somebody's listening or watching this episode, what would be the one thing that you want them to walk away with knowing? The one big thing?
I would like people to know, if they're not already, and I think we hear it all the time, but water is your best friend. Water is amazing for skin, and I just can't say it enough. In my intake form, I always ask people how much water they drink. And you'd be surprised, we all hear it, oh, it's got to be 8 glasses a day. But people don't realize that we're also having coffee and tea and, energy drinks and alcohol and all those sort of things, which aren't great for us, everything in moderation. So I would say the one thing that you take away is I would always start my morning with a big cup of lemon water and make sure we stay hydrated. When we drink a good amount of water, and I would say if you're around a 50-kilo person, your average should be the 2 liters, because it is by body weight. So, and if you're having any caffeine, whether it be a cup of coffee or a tea, you have to add another 1 to 2 cups on top, because people don't realize that it's actually a diuretic. So I've got some people that do love their caffeine, and they may have 3 to 4 cups, which I definitely don't recommend. Look, I'd say 1 to 2 cups tops. But those who love their caffeine, they're actually dehydrating their body. So more people that I see are chronically dehydrated. And I can't stress enough, and that can lead to a lot of problems, in terms of our digestive system, as well as, not helping the skin. So if we keep hydrated, especially with the warmer weather coming up, it really helps to flush out the toxins, as well as helping us, stay hydrated, which is, amazing for so much. Our whole body needs water. So, our body is made up of 70 to 80% water. So I just find that most people these days don't drink nearly enough as they should. So that's my number one tip. If you're going to look younger, at least start with, drinking and staying hydrated with plenty of water, and add some lemon to it. It's amazing for your skin.
Awesome. I have got a bit slack with adding the lemon to my water, so thank you for that reminder, and I will get onto that. I do drink a lot of water, so that's a good thing that we can always improve. So thank you so much for joining us today, and I would love to see you talking about another subject on a future episode.
That'd be great.
With you. Awesome. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see everybody on the next episode. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. Remember to check out the show notes, and if you have any comments, feedback or suggestions, I'd love to hear them. If you've received value from this podcast, make sure to subscribe, and I'd love you to rate and review the show. Have a fabulous day.